Well, welcome to the Valley Hoops Insider podcast, part of the Valley Hoops Insider website. I'm Harry Schroeder. That other guy that you don't know right there on the screen, that is John Mark Hall. He is the athletic director at the University of Southern Indiana. Brand new program, athletic department, joining the Ohio Valley Conference. And a lot of things related to all of that we're going to get into as much as we possibly can. First, John Mark, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. The OVC people that watch our site, read our site, they want to know everything about the Screaming Eagles.
No, I appreciate it. We're super excited to be a member of the Ohio Valley Conference, and I'm looking forward to get to meet a lot of people such as yourself who love the Ohio Valley Conference.
So tell us about you. You've been at USI since like the mid-90s, the athletic director, I think, since about 2002. You were a legendary tennis coach. Just tell us about you and your role there.
Sure. So I came to University of Southern Indiana in 1995 as the assistant athletic director. And then at the time, Steve Newton, who was a very successful basketball coach at Murray State.
Know that name,
yeah, he was the AD here, and he brought me here. And so I have a tennis background. Our tennis coach was going to retire here at USI, and so he asked me to do it. Kind of as a stopgap a little bit. I ended up doing it for 7 years because I enjoyed it while I was being the assistant AD. And then when I still call him Coach Newton, but when Coach Newton retired in 2002, I believe it was, I moved over into that spot and took over as the AD and obviously relinquished those coaching duties at that time. And I've been at USI ever since, and it's been a great place for me and my family. We've seen a lot of growth, we've had a lot of great success at the Division II level, and so yeah, it's been great. Just a great place to work. I've worked for we've only had 4 different presidents. I've been fortunate enough to work for 3 of them, and we've had great leaders here at USI. And it just felt like the time to explore Division I. I'm glad we did, and I'm really excited where we are now.
Tell me about USI as a university, their emphasis, the enrollment. Give us a little bit of the background, the feel of the university as a whole. Sure.
No, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. I think that, when I came here, we were really in a growth mode, and it really has continued on until this day. As a lot of institutions kind of leveled off at times here and there, but just been, really in a growth mode. The state of Indiana has been really good to us here in Evansville, Indiana. Just really strong academic programs. They've gotten stronger since I've been here. Nothing to do with me, obviously.
I was going to say, way to go.
Yeah, no, not because of me, but just great leadership, great faculty. Some of our, kind of crown jewel programs. Our nursing program is just incredibly strong. I joke with people all the time. I have a large family. I have 6 children. I think that, my wife's been in the hospital. I can't ever remember her being taken care of by somebody other than a USI grad and one of the local hospitals. Just a really, really strong nursing program, accounting program. We have an incredibly high CPA rate. I believe it's the highest in the state of Indiana and one of the highest nationally. Putting out a lot of good CPAs and folks in the accounting field. Our engineering program is really strong, and we had to battle for our engineering program here in the state of Indiana because we have a lot of other strong engineering.
We've heard of a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, heard of a couple of them, right? But obviously, employers in this area, in this region, kept saying we need more engineers, and so President Hoops, one of our former presidents, really had a battle here at the state level to get that done, and he did, and now we're producing a lot of great engineers. Again, teacher education. I mean, I could go on and on, but we feel really strongly about our academic programs. I tell people all the time too. I have one graduate of USI, child that's a graduate, and one that's actually a student athlete here at USI now, and I feel like they're getting as good of an education as anywhere they could get in the country. So I feel really, really strong about those areas. Again, health professions, engineering, communications. I mean, we can go on and on. So we feel good where we fit academically, and we hope. And I know I'm getting off on a tangent a little bit here, but we hope that athletics can bring some eyeballs on our campus, and we can show off those academic programs.
So your guys are going along, and you're outstanding in the athletic world and at the Great Lakes Valley Conference and Division II area. I used to announce games in the GLVC for UMSL. I'm aware of the GLVC, and and that, what was maybe the first impetus to think, man, we got to take this gigantic leap to Division I?
Well, just again, being really candid, I think we were starting, our phone was ringing a little bit more than maybe it had in the past. I mean, that's just, I think we were moving along, making progress. We built some really nice new facilities, thinking, at the same time that we were just going to really try to, improve our profile to Division II level. Some people don't believe that. It's just the truth. I don't know what else to say, but we really didn't have the intention. I think we always thought at some point in time, right? At some point in time, we're going to grow. It has to be something we've looked at, but we never really did a study. We never really, we never hired outside help with consultants to look into it. We never did an internal study, what have you. But when the phone started ringing a little bit from some consultants, and then some directly from some conference offices and other institutions in those said conferences about our interest, that's when the discussion really ramped up. And again, being really transparent, the first couple calls we just took and said, hey, no thanks, and appreciate the looking into it. But then I went to our president, Ron Rochon. He's a great guy, and said, Dr. Rochon, look, if you want to, jump into this, I'm not saying I'm saying that I'm promoting for us to go, but if you just want to do a deep dive into this, then I'm all for it. Let's do it. And that's what we did. And I think by the time we got through that deep dive, most, our board of trustees, our president, myself, we thought, this is the right time. The OVC is the right spot.
Now, why the OVC? Give us some of your thoughts about that. I'm a big fan of the OVC. Obviously, people know I write about it all the time. I know Commissioner DeBusch, fairly well, and so I'm an advocate. But tell us why the OVC seems like the right place for you guys.
Well, there's a few, obvious to everyone. The geography is really good for us. We fit, in the geographical footprint. I know that's changed a little bit over time. In fact, when we started discussions, OVC looked a little bit different than it even does, now as we sit here, near the end of February. But it still has held that, we've kind of been in the middle of that footprint, obviously a little bit on the northern side, but geographically we fit in. I feel like we're, moving into a league where we have like institutions, right? They're not all state public institutions, but predominantly that way. I feel like academically we align. I think our values align. Again, not to get too much on me personally, but I grew up as in the OVC. I saw the great rivalries. It's got great history. Again, does it look different now? Absolutely, but we still feel like it has, again, this deep tradition. I think we're pushing 75 years. Maybe this is the 75th. They're pushing it. I know we've talked about a little bit. So, I think all those things align. And, again, the ability to compete at the highest level, and you see, great success of these OVC, institutions over time, traditionally in NCAA tournaments and winning, big regional matchups that, maybe you get to see on TV and what have you. So I think all those things, put into play and just put it together, and just, it made a lot of sense. I think Beth's leadership, again, there's been a lot of transition, right? This is a tough time to be a conference commissioner with all the moves, but we felt really good about Beth and really her vision to, on what she wanted to do. And we were just happy to be a part of that. And I think that the OVC did a lot of research on us and wanted to make sure that was a great fit too. And so, we appreciated that. So, I think it's, again, Harry, like anything in life, right? We'll see how it pans out. We feel really good about it. Again, both of these leagues, league we're coming from and into, in some ways the travel and the geography is going to be a little bit better for us at sometimes. We're not real close to Little Rock, and that's okay, but we're not real close to Kansas City where we travel to now, or Chicago where we travel to. So, feel really good about that. And then lastly, I'm kind of going on. I feel like that over time we're going to be competitive, right? And I feel like that was another thing. You don't want to make such a move where you feel like that the competition level is above you or below you or what have you. We feel like that we can compete. Now, I'm not sitting here promising we're going to win championships right away, or, in men's, women's basketball, win 20 games. That's not what I'm saying, but I feel like we can be competitive with some proper, investments and resources put into some of those sports. And I think that was appealing to us also.
Yeah, that was my next question. What do you guys have to do differently now? There's probably a financial component. I've looked on your website and seen some of your facilities, and I want to talk about your arena in a minute, which looks spectacular. So your facilities are really good, that what I've been able to see. But what do you guys have to do differently now that you're moving into that next level?
Well, I think the first thing we have to invest in, scholarships for our student athletes. We've the university's been great to us, but we have, so back, it's in the state of Indiana. We're still, we feel like we're an affordable institution, so we've used that to our advantage. So, for instance, we've won 2 baseball national championships at USI. Well, we're not the most highly funded baseball program in our conference or in Division II, but we've been able to use the affordability of our institution to recruit locally, to recruit regionally, where maybe we're just investing, a small grant and aid, into a person, or even, we've had starters in the college, World Series Division II that, been walk-ons, right? So, we've been able to do that. But obviously, when you make this step, you really want to make sure you invest in scholarships and financial aid for your student athletes. So that'll be step one for us. That'll be something that we have to do. We're relatively close in men's and women's basketball because at the Division II level, we've been, for what we would call fully funded, scholarship wise in Division II, but obviously that jump in Division I is there. And so we have to do that. And then in some of our other sports, we haven't been close to fully funded to Division II level. And so we're going to be competing against institutions now that, just be candidly, have more scholarships to offer. So that'll be one of the first things we do. And then one of the other things we'll do in year one is just have to, to add some administrative staff. And it's, we've never had a full-time development officer to raise money. In our financial plan, we have to raise, we have to raise money at a greater rate for us to be able to make this move. So development, marketing, compliance, we'll have to, add those staff members to make sure that we're, up to speed at the Division I level. So those will be the 2 things that we'll do right off the bat. And, but, from a facility standpoint, which I know we'll talk a little bit more, but we're not going to have to make major investments right off the bat. And that's what gives us a little bit of ease going into this. We're not going to take major renovations to get going.
Yeah, I looked at pictures of Screaming Eagles Arena. Spectacular. I mean, it is a great place. About 4,800 people can sit in it, but it's relatively new. I mean, maybe 5-6 years old, maybe something like that. But it's a special place, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I appreciate it. It is. We're very proud of it. This is actually it's just the third year we've played in it. So year one, we played with fans. Obviously last year we played with no fans, and this year with a moderate amount because we're still, in our campus, you still have to be masked, and, obviously people still a little timid about coming out to games, which we understand. But yeah, it's a beautiful facility, 4,800 seats. I feel like it's a really good arena in the OVC. I haven't been in all the arenas in the OVC. I've seen a lot of pictures of them, watched them on, TV, obviously, but I feel like our facility will be right there as one of the nicer ones in the facility. I think the teams will enjoy coming to our facility. We have OVC teams practice for the OVC tournament here because OVC tournaments in Evansville. We've had OVC teams scrimmage in our arena, the kind of these closed door scrimmages they can do at Division I. And so I think most of the time when folks come in, it's a mid-major OVC caliber, arena. So we're really happy to get folks down here to Evansville to see that.
So our site is men's basketball centric, and we're starting to cheat over to the women's side a little bit. You have a great women's basketball program. They're 20 wins, I think, this year. Coach Stein's been there a long time and achieved a whole lot of things. But our bread and butter at our website is men's basketball. And tell us about your basketball team. Your basketball coach, Stan Gerard, was some Missouri Valley fans will remember that he was an assistant coach at Indiana State, played there, has come back to you. Talk about Coach Gerard and the men's basketball program.
Yeah, really excited to have him on board. He was a member of our 1995 national championship team, was a national player of the year at Division II, went on to play overseas a little bit. Had some knee injuries a little bit, kind of slowed him down, but it got him. He had to do some real world stuff, right? Not that playing basketball is not, but I know to him it was still love and a game, Tim. But he got into the coaching arena, worked here for a little bit before he went on, as you said, Indiana State, Indianapolis, and when Coach Rodney Watson, who some of your viewers may
know about him, Rodney.
Yeah,
too,
right. Coach Rodney Watson had a really nice run here at USI and decided to retire. When the coaching job opened up, I mean, Stan was at the top of our list. We did an open search. We were, but Stan was always the person that we thought could lead us. But he was at another GLVC institution that was having great success.
They were winning, right?
They were winning, right? So then it became of, does Stan really want to come back? And, if he wouldn't have answered I knew he was going to answer the call, but if he would have said, John Mark, I don't want to do it right now. It's not really a move I'm looking to do. I would have completely understood. And it wasn't an easy one for him because he liked Indianapolis and enjoyed his time there. But as the conversations got deeper, his love for USI was evident. And, the facility didn't hurt anything, right? He knew we were playing in a nice facility. But you know what, Harry, we didn't really talk about Division I and the possibilities of moving at that time. It was, our talk at that point in time was let's try to come here and win a Division II national championship. And obviously this is his last chance this year. So, but I know he's excited about the move. He's a great person. He's a great leader of young men. I think people will enjoy getting to know him. Just a all around great guy, good family man.
Well, listen, I'm getting with him later today. Can you tell me something that people don't know about him that I can drop on him and I'll go, how did you know that?
Yeah. I'll have to think about that and get back with you here. That's a good one. They called him Superman, right? When he was a basketball student athlete here, Superman, Stan Gerard. So that's always
maybe that works for me. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, we joke with him a little bit about that, but he really barreled through a lot of injuries. He obviously played for Bruce Pearl, who's had at Auburn now, so I'm sure there's some stories there. They stay in touch. We played Auburn in the preseason this year. All around a good guy. You'll enjoy visiting with him, and he'll have a good vision for USI basketball.
They're in town to play my old Umsel Tritons, and it's this week, so tonight, and so we're going to try to connect today as well. Coach Stein's been there a long time, and you guys win a lot of games. I told you we were starting to cheat over to the women's side a little bit. Women's basketball is very important in the OVC. Yeah,
we're excited about that. On the women's side, also obviously the great history on the men's side, but you can start seeing that coming alive on the women's side. And again, we feel like we can be competitive on the women's side. There's some really good programs. Obviously, we have some work to do, but Coach Stein's been here since he was actually a student athlete here before I got here in 1995. Has been on campus since. He was a GA, then an assistant coach, and then took over the reins. Can't remember the year off the top of my head. It was before I was the AD, so probably late 1990s, early 2000s, and 400 plus wins. Really good connection with the student athletes. We do have a good team this year. We feel like we have an NCAA team that might be able to make a run at the Division II level. And, look, the tough part, Harry, is, he's had trouble getting Division I games at times, exhibition or otherwise, because of some success. And so, when we've had Division I games in the exhibition season, it's maybe been against Kentucky or, somebody like that. But so I'm really anxious to see how we transition to the league. I think he'll do well. And I think with the current team that he has, the current student athletes, they'll be able to, to some win some games and be competitive with the top teams, in the OVC.
How important was it for you to be for the athletic program to be instantly eligible? A lot of times when programs are moving from D2 to D1, and okay, for the first 3 years, 4 years, yada, yada, but they paved the way for you guys to be eligible right away.
Yeah, it's important. It was a very important part of the discussion, and one that the OVC, was really gracious right off the bat, and that made the discussions a little bit easier. Can you recruit student athletes into campus without postseason opportunities? Yeah, sure. It's happened plenty of times. And there's been some schools that have done that with some success also. But knowing that you compete in the OVC championships in the sports they have. Now we have a few sports that we have to find homes for because OVC doesn't have a championship. But for the most part, our programs will be able to compete. And I think that's really important. It takes a little bit of the edge off of the anxiety, right? Because our current student athletes, I tell people all the time, our current student athletes, they didn't sign up for this, right? I mean, so they signed up to compete at the Division II level and compete really in every sport that we have here. And you've been around GLVC. We say we're trying to win a national championship, right? It's not a conference. I mean, we promote winning the conference championship too. We have high aspirations. And so when you take that away from them, that stings a little bit. We did a survey to student athletes about whether we should make a move, and it was about 50-50. And some people were really surprised that 50% of student athletes here might not want to go based on what they know, but it didn't surprise me at all because that's where we recruited them to be, right? So you're changing on it, but the response since has been good. I think they understand, and to your point, I think what you just said is a huge key to our retention of student athletes, is the chance to play for OVC championships right away. That's really, really important.
Everybody knows the rocks roll downhill, and so the OVC has taken a few hits recently, and so one of the results is Little Rock has joined the league, and you guys have joined the league, and now earlier this week Lindenwood is joining the league, and the poor GLVC has lost two big programs, and Lindenwood, I've told people online, they've got some great facilities too. I mean, their basketball arena is spectacular. Are you excited that Lindenwood's coming along? I mean, there's obviously some familiarity between your institution and theirs.
Yeah, I am excited, and I think it's we became a member. I guess we're not officially a member yet, but I just finished my second AEDs meeting right before I hopped on with you, so I'm in the meetings now. But I think when once we became official, or at least on to start in July, then you become invested on the growth of it, right, immediately. So your non-institutions, not that I've ever been hung up on a number, but I think that Lindenwood is, you're right, they have great facilities, they're very well funded from a scholarship standpoint, they have some very good programs. Obviously, one thing that they bring to the table that we don't OVC is football, and obviously that was probably really key. I mean, again, I wasn't privy to the discussions of them being in, but obviously that was I'm sure an important part of that is the OVC needed to add a football school. So yeah, I mean, again, it's in our geographic footprint. We're familiar with them. We know how they operate. We play them on Saturday night here in the doubleheader with men's and women's basketball. So our last regular season Division II game, or both of our last, Division II will be against future Division I, conference member opponents. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I think the OVC will continue to look to see if it can grow. But I know that, or from my early discussions, I feel like everybody feels like, okay, we're definitely in a better place now. And I think, I know this is mostly men's basketball. I'll just say, I think we'll have a really good men's basketball league right off the bat. And I know, Murray and Belmont leaving, hurts, right? Let's not, sugarcoat it at all. It hurts. And they're very high profile schools, institutions. I think some other ones will step up, and I think it's going to be really exciting, year in OVC basketball next year.
I think it's funny. You just said your last regular season is going to be against Lindenwood, who will be your opponent in the OVC next year. And then you'll play the GLVC championship, which is at Edwardsville, and where you'll be playing games next year as well. I mean, it's kind of funny the way that all played out. Yeah. So before we let you go, I know the Evansville tournament, that those contracts come and go, but as of now, the league tournament for the OVC is there, and that's got to be an advantage and a fun kind of thought for your university as well.
Yeah, it is. I hope, and I understand how the dynamics will be with an institution in the same town, and I'll hear over time how other athletic directors and presidents feel about that. But I do think that it's it's really great for a couple of reasons. One is our community is familiar with the OVC, right? We've had the tournament, they've embraced the tournament, they've had some great crowds at the tournament. I don't think this year will be any different. I think the ticket sales are really, really good right now. And I think the community embraces, so they have some familiarity with the OVC. And then I think that, if the OVC tournament continues to stay here, especially during our transition time, it just gives our, fan base, our student athletes, our coaches, just maybe that extra little excitement during kind of a tough transition time to think we could make the OVC tournament and it could be here and we'd have a chance to compete at a high level, here in our backyard. Obviously, we don't play at the Ford Center, but hopefully our fans, the community would continue to support it like they have to this point in time. So yeah, it's all those things you just said. It's just kind of I don't know how to even explain it. Just this, the things you just said about Lindenwood and Edwardsville and OVC tournament here. Just hopefully all those synergies work for us in this transition.
It is such an interesting time in college athletics. All the transition, the change of rules, and shifting of college conferences, and all those kinds of things. Appreciate your time today, and wish you all the best. So excited. I was tweeting out yesterday. Well, I live here in St. Louis, and so now I've got a team 30 minutes from me on either side, Lindenwood and Edwardsville, and you guys aren't far away, and SEMO is close, and St. Louis has become kind of a place that really has a strong OVC feel right now.
Yeah, it does. And you're in a good spot, and it's yeah, you're exactly right. And hopefully, the St. Louis community, will embrace the OVC, even more than it has. And we can kind of, I think that's important. I think our communities, whether it's Nashville or St. Louis and Evansville and now Little Rock and those communities, it's important to be, kind of OVC communities now. It'll help our league, it'll help our brand, and, help the future of the conference.
That is John Mark Hall. He is the athletic director at the University of Southern Indiana. I would say the newest member of the Ohio Valley Conference, but they're not. Lindenwood snuck in there on us on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day that was, and we're excited about them as well. John Mark, really appreciate your time today. Wish you the best, the Screaming Eagles, great success in the OVC, and we'll get to see you quite regularly when you guys are in town and when we traverse the OVC. So thanks for your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Harry. We need to get you down the arena for a game next year, so make sure you put it on your calendar. So.
I need to come. That's John Mark Hall. He's the athletic director at the University of Southern Indiana. Thanks for watching. Remember, since you've been there, make it a better place. We'll see you again real soon.